1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Aaron in the morning. Dan Keel is sitting in for Robert, who's on vacation.
Good morning.
We're joined by Michelle Davison with the American Red Cross from Northwest Louisiana. Good morning.
Good morning.
You guys are headed down south. What kind of response is the local Red Cross involved in with regard to Harvey and the folks that need help?
Well, right now, because we are expected to be somewhat of an impact area, we're actually keeping a lot of our assets fairly close. We've been monitoring for the possibility of evacuees, and of course, we're preparing for minor street flooding. And then once the storm has passed us, we'll be able to mobilize dozens and dozens of volunteers down to support the effort in Texas.
What are you seeing, Michelle, with regard to how much rain, I know you're privy to a lot of the information, a lot of the meetings, but how much rain could hit the Shreveport-Bossier, Northwest Louisiana?
Well, we're really looking at anywhere between 3 and possibly 8 inches of rain between now and next Sunday. And the majority of that's going to come in about a 2-day period. So that's one of the things that we're watching for. And, of course, it depends on where the track goes as to whether or not it impacts the river basins. Right now, river flooding is not an issue. But that's one of the things that we're watching very closely, is to make sure that we can keep our residents safe and then go help those that are already in the path of danger.
Preparing to open shelters here for folks in Texas that may need to come this way?
That's been one of the things that we've been monitoring very closely. We've been looking for evacuees and preparing to make sure that we can house them if needed. Right now, one of the good things about Texas is because it has such large cities up north, it actually has the ability to absorb a lot of evacuees. We're not getting a lot of requests. I did get a couple this morning, but we do have a shelter open near Alexandria that has plenty of capacity. So right now we're hoping to be able to direct most of those individuals to Alexandria. And then as they need shelter, of course, we have identified shelters already ready to go.
Okay, what about the impact in Southwest Louisiana? I know you're watching that, and that, again, could have a lot of people leaving that area and headed our way.
That could, and so that really is another very immediate concern, not just Southwest, but Central. And of course, Central is part of our chapter's jurisdiction. I'm headed down to Alexandria actually this morning to talk with some of the emergency officials about some of the potential rain impacts there. Southwest Louisiana is a definite concern, and we've got two of our low-lying parishes, Calcasieu and Cameron, that's a very, very real consideration for them. So we've mobilized a lot of volunteers across the state to come into those areas and support. And again, those volunteers will be there as long as they're needed until the storm passes, and then we'll likely move further to the west to help out in Texas.
Talking with Michelle Davison with the American Red Cross in Northwest Louisiana. Folks that are listening that say, what can I do to help? Can we collect bottled water? I know cash is always king, right?
It really is, and there's a good reason for that. It's when we send items into a disaster area, it often clogs up the response mechanism because then the people that are responding to the disaster have to deal with all of the items that are coming in from out of the area, some of which may be needed, some of which may not. But so it really makes it much easier for them. It makes it much more efficient response on the disaster side for them just to be able to get what they need. And so that's why cash is always the best option. And I know people like to give things, but a lot of times things make the response harder on the people that are already having a really, really hard time right now. And so that's why we always ask for financial donations. And if you can't make a financial donation, volunteering your time, whether it's with the Red Cross or your church or local food bank, all of us are tapped right now because we're all sending resources to those areas or preparing for those areas to be taken care of. And so that's one of the best ways you can help is if you can't donate money, donate your time.
Are you sending volunteers? Have volunteers from Shreveport-Bossier gone to that area? Are you planning to do that, or have you already?
We have not sent any yet, just because we are expected to be somewhat impacted, and so we won't send them away from our area until we know for sure what the impact is going to be for us. But I can tell you that I've got at least half a dozen volunteers that are calling me on a regular basis, letting me know that they're ready to go as soon as we give the word.
And I know the food bank and Operation Barbecue Relief have sent help in. They're setting up canteens. I'm sure the Red Cross in Texas has been doing the same, right?
Right. They have had 24 shelters Saturday night. That grew to about 50 shelters open during the day yesterday. And, of course, that number is going to continue to grow. Nationwide, while the Red Cross is mobilizing thousands of volunteers and even paid staff trying to get as much help into there as quickly as possible. They've sent about 150 of our emergency response vehicles. So we have as many resources as we possibly can flooding into the area.
Michelle Davison with the American Red Cross, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Little bit of a cooking disaster at my hacienda. We'll tell you about that coming up. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel.